Hello friends and welcome back. In the last video I've shown you on how to get the data from the database, and as you have seen we're performing everything inside our controller. We're first trying to get the data from the database. We added the navigation properties inside here, and I can imagine if you're having like 100 of requests inside one controller as well as the database access, it can be a error of code, and you can't be able to maintain that very easily. And that's why we need to add a kind of a pattern or any kind of other technique so as to be able to facilitate our work and to make our code more scalable. In that case, I'm going to introduce you to what we call the repository pattern. And the reason to use the repository pattern is to have what we call separation of concerns. In that case, we will be having the data access code on its own, we will have the business logic code in its own, and hence we will have to free up our controller and we will have less code that can be maintained as everything will be in its place. Let's go ahead and see how we can do this. I'm going to close my terminal so as to be having a clean workspace, and I'm going to close all of these files because we don't need them at this moment, and I'm going to minimize everything here so as to be able to have a clean working space like this one. And to perform the repository pattern, we need to create the interface first. And after creating the interface, we need to create the implementation class inside our infrastructure folder. And then we start from there. I'm going to start by going through the core project. I'm going to create a folder that will hold all our interfaces because this is where they will be living. And after creating this, I'm going to go ahead and right click, new C# interface. And I'm going to call this as iProduct repository, like this one, repository, like this one. We'll go ahead and press enter. After creating this iRepository interface, we need to add all the tasks that this interface will do. First of all, we need to get our products. We need to get one individual product. We need to get the types and brands, and that marks that for in thorough. I'm going to start by saying task. I'm going to make this as I lead only list, and it will be I lead only list of product. It will be a type of product, and I'm going to call this as get product async, like this one. Okay, after creating this, we need also to get the individual product, and the way we get the individual product, we're going to say task, and I'm going to say that it will be a type of product. Okay, and I'm going to call this as get product by id async, like this one, and I'm going to pass in the id as int id in here, and then go ahead and terminate this with a semicolon. I'm going to add two more for brands and types. So I'm going to say I read only list again, I read only list of type product brand, and I'm going to call this as get product brand async, like this one. And I'm going to do the same for the product type. I'm going to say task I read only list of product type, and in this case it is going to be called get product types async, like this one, async. All right, and after we are done with this, we can go ahead and create the implementation class. The implementation class, as I told you, it will be into our infrastructure folder. So I'm going to go inside my infrastructure into the data. I'm going to create the implementation class. So I'm going to say new C# class, and I'm going to call this as product repository. And what I'm going to do first, I'm going to derive from my interface, which is now iProduct repository. And after I derive from this class, you can see that it is complaining, it is asking us to implement it. I'm going to go ahead and press Ctrl dot for quick fix, and I'm going to go ahead and implement the interface. And what it is going to do, it is going to bring all of them, it is going to create the methods that are required, and it will use this one that we added here to create all of these four methods. And what we're going to do again, we're going to bring our database context in here, and we need of course to add the constructor. And I'm going to go ahead and press Ctrl dot inside this, and I'm going to create the constructor. And inside the constructor, we need to inject our application DB context. I'm going to call this as context, And again, I'm going to initialize the field from this parameter, and I'm going to again make this as underscore, you know, the syntax that I like. And here we go. And we're going to look at the methods that we have, and we're going to do exactly what the method is supposed to do. And this is supposed to get our product blends. And in that case, we need also to make this function as asynchronous. And I'm going to show you the trick to do that. You can see that in the start it was like a normal one without the async. So I'm going to go ahead and say return. And whenever I write a wait and I use the autocomplete, it will automatically make the function as async. And I'm going to say context, and I'm going to say we're going to get the product blends. So in the product blends, and I'm going to say toList async, like this one. And then we are done getting all the list of our product blends. And we are going to also get the product by ID. And the way we do that, I'm going to again say return await and use autocomplete. And I'm going to say context, and I'm going to say product, and I'm going to say find async, and this is going to find by ID, and then you can go ahead and close. Again, for getting all the products, we can go ahead and use the same return await, and I'm going to say context, and I'm going to say products, and I'm going to say toList async. All right, cool. And I'm going to do the same for the types, return await, to complete context, and I'm going to say product types. Here it is, and I'm going to say toList async. Okay, wonderful. And once we are done with this, we can go back into our controller and try to replace where we were having this kind of behavior with the new pattern. But before we do that, we need to register our repository to the dependency injection, and that we do that into the program.cs file. And of course, that will be inside the API project. So I'm going to go there and go into the program. And below this service for the database, I'm going to say builder.services. And I'm going to say add scoped. And the reason we're going to use this as a scoped service it's because we need it to be disposable after use. You can use transient or singleton, but we see the other cases on where you can need to use that too. And I'm going to say that this will be iProduct repository, and I'm going to add the implementation class here, and then we are done. All right, and after we are done with this one, we can go back into the controller here, and we're going to try to replace we are not going to inject the database inside here directly. That's why we're going to remove everything from this constructor, and we need to delete this field again, as well as this one, because we're going now to use the repository. So I'm going to say iProduct repository, and I'm going to call this as lipo. And I'm going to initialize the field from this parameter. And I'm going to go ahead and initialize the field from this parameter. And I'm going to make this as underscore. As always, you know, the syntax that I like this one, okay? And inside our endpoints, we need to change everything. And I'm going to delete all of these to replace it with the pattern. I'm going to say that repo dot get product async, because we're getting the product, and then we are done. Okay, and to get the individual product, we're going to use the same. I'm going to delete everything. We have to add the navigation properties later on. I'm going to say lipo dot get product by ID async, and I'm going to pass in the ID, and then we are done. I'm going to do the same for the blends. I'm going to delete everything here, and I'm going to say lipo dot get product blends async, and here we go. And lastly, we need to do this to our types too. So I'm going to say lipo dot get product types async here, and then here we go. And once we are done replacing this, we can see that our controller is now trying to, let me go and end the statement here. You can see that our controller now is starting to look clean, and that's because we are using the repository pattern, and you can go ahead and check if we didn't break anything. So to do that, I'm going to go here and go into the API project, because that's now where we are going to be starting with, and .NET watch run and then wait. And when you go and open the Postman to check, so I'm going to send these to get individual products. When you click send, you can see that I'm getting my individual product, and whenever we try to get all the products, so let's go ahead and see. When you go ahead and click send, you can see the list of the products. And I'm going to show you how to add the navigation properties in the next video, because you can see that I'm having the nar value for the product brands and the product types. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.